Okay, imagine writing a whole song just so that you can shoot a fake 80s music video and then put it on an actual real VHS tape. That's what I did, and today I'm gonna take you behind the scenes of the entire heartfelt, analog-inspired process. From songwriting and a behind-the-scenes look at the composition and recording process, to filming a music video in my basement on a budget, to, yes, transferring it to the actual tape. So if you love music, creativity, or just want to take a peek behind the scenes at the entire process, you're in the right place. So all of this started with me getting way too obsessed with a music video made in 1988. It's called Believed You Were Lucky by the band Till Tuesday, which if you've never seen or heard it, that's fine, because you can still appreciate the vibe. It's like watching a dream dissolve in soft lighting. It's that perfect blend of style where the late 80s started to blend into the 90s. Being so very inspired, I wondered, what if I made my own version? What if I wrote a song in that same moody, shimmering early 90s vibe and shot a video as an homage to the Till Tuesday video that I absolutely adore? I put chapters to mark each section of this video so that you can find your way to whatever it is that you're interested in, but this is a journey, so I suggest you stick around for the whole creation process. I have this very specific memory of hiding in the closet as a kid to avoid cleaning because my mom was on a cleaning spree and I didn't want to get assigned a chore. She'd be blasting her music through the whole house until Tuesday was in heavy rotation, like the full albums from beginning to end. What I've always loved about them is that shimmering but melancholic quality. Their songs feel happy sad, but in the best way, like depressed, but still kind of groovy. A lot of their stuff has these really rich bass lines and unexpected grooves. Plus, they often used thick vocal harmonies in their songs, which always stuck with me. So while some of their songs lean more acoustic or singer-songwriter, for this project, I was chasing the sound of their more upbeat, bass-driven tracks, and that's what kicked everything off. Welcome to the song, which, as you can see, was recorded in Logic Pro X. Now, before someone says in the comments, I thought you were going to use equipment from the late 80s to make this song. The answer is no. The inspiration for this project came from the late 80s, and my goal was to do my best to create that sound and look in modern software and then finish it off by giving it an authentic VHS treatment. Now, I also want to preface this by saying that I am not a professional producer. This is just how an intermediate amateur like me pieces something all together. I know it's really fun for me to see a big project like this broken down into parts, so let's get started. Here we have all of our main tracks. Some of the tracks are stacked, which means that I can expand them, like I expanded the track stack for the drums here, and we can see all of the tracks that encompass the drums in the song and the percussion. My husband recorded live drums for this song, so we have our overheads, our snare, our kick, and we also did add in a couple triggered samples that play just to give it some extra oomph and depth for the kick drum. We can also expand the synths and see all of our layers here, as well as the guitars and the vocal harmonies. So these are all the layers of vocal harmonies for the entire song. When I write a song, 9 times out of 10, I'm writing it just on an acoustic guitar, just playing the basic chords and rhythm. And that's how I most easily work out the structure and melody for a song. For example, I'll be strumming the chorus and humming, or literally just saying gibberish to come up with lyrics. Sometimes I do have a basic idea of what I want the song to be about, and so that helps kind of focus my efforts, and usually it just kind of all comes together, if that makes sense. And one day, while I was playing some chords and starting the process of writing this song, my husband was fiddling around on the bass and came up with this little bass lick, and we recorded it real quick because it was one of those things that we felt like we needed to get it down quick before it was forgotten forever. And that was what really sparked the song. I decided right there and then that this was going to be the bass line that underscored the chorus of the song as well as the intro. And at that point, I didn't even have the chorus melody or lyrics written, just the verses. And the chorus went through several rewrites, and I don't think I have any of the original takes anymore because they were really bad. You don't need to hear them. Instead of strumming an acoustic guitar to set the tone for the song, I didn't actually want an acoustic guitar in it. So instead, I wrote down the chords and I played them on my keyboard, which is right here, but you can't see it, so I'm reaching for it. And I used the Juno 6 plugin with the setting Iconic Strings to kind of set a pad for the song to fill in the space. And together with the bass, it sounded like this. And before my husband recorded the drums, I wanted something to give it a little bit of a groove. So I found this almost keyboard sounding set of synth drum loops. I didn't actually expect to keep these drum loops in the song. I just found it more fun to record to than a straight metronome, but I ended up liking them, and so we kept them for the final version to thicken up the drum mix even after the real drum track was recorded. Okay, so we're starting to get somewhere with the song, and at this point it was time for me to start building out the guitars. I decided that a kind of staccato guitar pluck would work well, especially against that bass line to help give it even more of a groove, and so this is what I came up with for the guitar part. And so that staccato rhythm kind of plays on and off for most of the song, except for the bridge when some shimmery, melancholic electric guitars come in to strum and make the breakdown kind of sound a little bit different. Now, I know that in this video I might be switching up sometimes saying late 80s and sometimes saying early 90s sound, but that's really the thing here. The sound I was going for was that really unique space that bridged the decades. Until Tuesday really encapsulated that in their songs. They sometimes sounded a bit more grounded than some of the typical synthy 80s tracks, so it was really a sound that was on the cusp of the 90s. So now we're getting somewhere. We have the guitars tracked, we have the bass line figured out, we filled out more of the bass on a synth bass as well to kind of thicken it up, and my husband tracked the drums. For this, we just recorded here in the studio in our basement. The drums are right over there. Once again, you can't see them, but they're over there. We used 4 mics with 2 overheads, a snare mic and a kick mic, and so all of that together sounded like this. At this time, I just had a scratch vocal track in the project, so it was time to record the final takes around now. This might all look like one vocal take, but that's not at all what happened in practice. I actually would do a ton of different takes. Sometimes I'd have to pause, play a little bit on my guitar to figure out if I wanted to change the phrasing, then come back and re-record. And then it was pieced together into this one final take.
Don't talk to me, these lips are paralyzed. Don't make me weep, I keep my pain inside.
The real fun part of this song for me was figuring out all the harmonies. I knew that I wanted a big, thick kind of choral harmony for the chorus, so I recorded each of the separate parts. I'm going to solo it so you can hear it by itself first.
Don't talk to me, don't make me weep, I keep my pain inside. Don't talk to me, you already know I don't want to be emotional.
And if you're wondering what this track is at the top that says Long Gone Buddy, that is the track that I used as my reference track. So I kept going back and forth and listening to that song because that was the sound that I was going for. And that is indeed a song by Till Tuesday. And I'm sure you'll be able to hear a lot of how I was inspired by that song. So now that the harmonies and main vocals were in place, the last piece of the puzzle for me was to fill in some more synths to add some pizzazz. I knew for certain that I wanted a stereotypical Starlight kind of sounding synth at a certain part. And I found the perfect sound. It was literally called Shooting Star. And here it is in the whole scope of the song.
Breaking at the heart, why can't
like, isn't that just... I also wanted a lead line that came in. And so for that, I used a combination of 3 different synths to make this lead melody to kind of pull everything together with a melodic hook. They also come in to back up those chorus harmonies with a kind of 7th chord. And if we solo the vocal harmonies, you can hear it.
Don't talk to me,
I love that 7th chord in there.
don't make me weep.
Then to create a nice climax, I brought in some new synths for the bridge, including some more of that amazing Shooting Star sound and some more whimsical sounding synths, and I kept layering them. I especially liked how some of the more sweeping, shimmering synths sounded with the layers of vocal harmonies.
I'm a mess.
It is incredibly hard for me to know when a song is done. In fact, to me, a song would never be done. And so what I did do was hire a producer for, I think it was like $50, to listen through the song a couple times and give feedback. And I was really happy with this decision. It gave me mountains of feedback that I could use, and I incorporated as much of it as possible into the final song. Once that was all finished and it was mixed to the best of my ability, I did pay someone to do the mastering. And they also thankfully did have a little bit of extra feedback from that perspective to help get everything as good sounding as possible. Maybe one day I would love to see what a real producer could have done with these tracks, but overall I have no complaints, and this is one that I'm really happy with. But the song was only half of the project. The other half was to create a video that matched or even elevated the overall aesthetic. Unfortunately, I don't have a ton of unedited footage to show you because in a rare moment of trying not to be a total digital hoarder, I actually deleted most of the working files once the video was done, which is now something that I deeply regret. I've learned my lesson. I'll never delete anything again. The visual inspiration, as you already know, came from the music video for Till Tuesday's Believed You Were Lucky, which looks like it was shot on a soundstage with soft lighting and a ton of props and this rich black void as the background. It's moody in that very late 80s kind of way, and I wanted to recreate that vibe with basically no budget. Thankfully, I already own lights and cameras from doing filmmaking work, so I didn't have to spend too much. The only real prop that I did buy was a massive black sheet, like big enough to swallow a corner of my basement, because that's exactly what it did, because I hung it from the rafters and used it as a backdrop. I set up 2 lights placed diagonally to hit the subject from each side and recorded a bunch of shots. Some full body, some close-ups of me singing and playing guitar, you name it. Then we dragged the drum kit down and recorded my husband playing the drums and later bass. I also filmed a few artsy insert shots for visual flair, like my giant monstera plant. I also wanted to do my own versions of some of the prop things that happen in the Till Tuesday video. They have so many things flying around. For example, the words of the song are incorporated in some of the props, and I wanted to do the same thing for my video in my own way. So for example, when I say broken at the heart, I made a paper heart and animated it in After Effects to make it break, of course. This Zenith video camera, I used this as one of my props in the video. This is another item that I used as a prop. This amazing cassette player from the 1980s. I also used it in my Backrooms music video, and now I'm feeling like I should use it in, this is a bad angle, sorry. I'm feeling like I should use it in every video, like secretly just put it in the background. It can be one of those things. What do they call it? An Easter egg? When it came time to edit, I really leaned into the high key look and completely crushed the blacks, like melted them into oblivion, so that everything blended into a solid endless void. For the shots where it looks like we're all playing together, I actually had to cut us out individually using masks and then composite us together in post. We couldn't physically fit the drum set and all of us in that space at once anyway. Plus it's just me and my husband playing, so it's a fake band. For some of the more surreal shots, like where the camera looks like it's floating through different versions of us, I brought everything into After Effects and built it up in a 3D space. Then I animated a virtual camera through it to create that floaty, layered look, just like the original Till Tuesday video. I also recreated one of my favorite weird moments from their video, where the drummer pops into the frame, just floating on a column while playing the air drums. I also loved that the cymbals on his drum set in the Till Tuesday video were so high. Why are they so high? So of course we had to do that too. After that, it was all about cutting and arranging scenes, trying to keep it creative and a little bit melancholic, just like me. A few unexpected fun facts are that a lot of the effects that are added to the video, like the rain effect, the water droplet effect, those are just default plugins, like that come with the actual program. Like the water droplets that come up, the reflection, these are just gimmicky stock effects that you're not supposed to use for professional work. And it's actually a good reminder because sometimes the tools you already have are more than enough. One thing that I needed to be really mindful of during editing was the aspect ratio. I knew that I needed the video to look good both in widescreen and cropped to 4:3 for the VHS transfer. And that's something that's important to know, is that I knew from the very beginning of this project that that it was going to end up transferred to VHS. So I used a custom framing guide that I made myself while editing to make sure that every shot was centered enough to survive the crop to 4:3 without having to reframe it all in post, which meant that I had to make some compromises in editing, but honestly it was worth it because once I had everything edited, color graded, animated, and framed for both worlds, it was finally time to start the VHS transfer. Now, if you've ever looked into VHS conversion, you'll know that it's a whole thing. There are forums, there are heated debates, there are people dropping hundreds or even thousands of dollars on vintage capture equipment to preserve every shadow of their original analog footage. First off, I already had a working VCR. It's not fancy, it's not archival quality, it's just a VCR, which in 2025 feels like a luxury anyway. I tried two methods of transferring the footage to the VCR. The often recommended make a DVD first and transfer it directly to the VCR from the DVD player method, and then also a direct computer to VCR method. And spoiler, the DVD route felt completely unnecessary and clunky. So I stuck with the direct HDMI to AV setup and it worked much better for my needs. At this point, I just opened up my laptop and queued up the video. I didn't use anything fancy, just VLC. I did scale it up slightly so that it filled the 4:3 frame of the TV, which I had planned for during editing, and I hit play on the laptop and record on the VCR. So now I had my footage on the VHS tape, but I needed to bring it back onto my computer. So for this, I used a separate device, a standalone converter box by a company called Porta, although you can find it under many different brand names, so I don't know if you need to specifically find this one. This one doesn't need a computer or OBS or any drivers because it doesn't actually hook up to your computer. You plug your VCR directly into it using standard RCA cables, hit record, and it captures the video directly onto either a USB drive or a memory card. It's got a little screen, which is actually super helpful for checking to make sure that you're not recording just static. And it even captures an MP4 format up to 1080p 30 frames per second, which is overkill for VHS footage, but I'm not complaining. Once that was done, I just unplugged the USB stick and then dropped the footage on my computer, and that was it. The final version, the actual VHSified dream, was ready to upload. If you do want a full breakdown of all 3 VHS converters that I tested, I made a separate video for that, and you can find it in the description. But for this project, mission accomplished. So that's the full journey from a random burst of inspiration to a full-blown concept to something I could actually upload and share. And the most miraculous part was that somehow this project didn't stall out like so many of my other projects. While it did take about 3 to 4 months from starting the song to actually finishing and uploading the video, it kept moving forward from day one, which is rare. If only I could say the same for the hundreds of unfinished songs and videos that sit quietly on my aging hard drives. If you want to watch the full VHS version of the music video, you can click right here. Or if you're looking for the shiny 4K version, you can find that in the description. Or maybe this video is more your style? Either way, thanks for watching!